Our commissioners workshop session. Anyone from the public wishing to speak about any topic can come up to the podium, and you'll have 3 minutes after stating your name and address to discuss any topic before the commissioners. I have a sign-in sheet today. I will go down. There's a box that says check if speaking. I will call on the folks who have checked that they wanted to speak. Afterwards, assuming that we're not at dinner time, I will open it up to anybody else. The sheet is a starting point, but obviously if there's anybody else that wishes to speak, we'll have that opportunity. Okay? First up, that checked the box to speak is 2 sheets here. Jen Manson.
Okay, my name's Jen Manson. I'm president One at a Time Canine Rescue and a Lake County resident. My address is 826 Park Road, Painesville Township. So this isn't about shutting down the shelter, because we need a dog shelter, right? Dogs need somewhere to go, but we need somebody that has their best interests at heart. We just want to make it better. I think the public deserves transparency, because every dog owner in this county pays dog license fees, and if you don't pay it, you're going to hear about it. So I think it's fair for the public to ask where the money's going, and if those funds are meant for the care of these animals, and why are they not even heartworm tested? Why are they not spayed? Why are they not neutered? Why is it bare minimum medical care for these animals? One example, Clyde. This is Clyde, everybody? Clyde? Yeah. So Clyde was one of the dogs that was removed from the shelter on July 3rd when it was 94 degrees. He's been there since December. He's been posted adoptable on the website since December. About 2 weeks before we took Clyde, he was attacked in the shelter because one of the employees failed to latch the dividing doors between the 2 runs, left for the day. Dogs got loose. They were fighting all night long until morning. So both of them open wounds. They didn't get treated for 2 days later. So when we brought Clyde into our rescue, we heartworm tested him, and of course he's positive, heartworm positive. He's not neutered, and he has whipworm, but he was adoptable per the Lake County Dog Shelter. So over the years, we've taken maybe about 20 dogs from Lake County. The majority of them needed medical care that they weren't receiving. And most of the time, getting those dogs was just a fight. It was like pulling teeth to get them from the shelter. I don't know why it was so difficult. I've offered to sponsor spays and neuters for their dogs. We've offered to pay for training for their dogs. Certified trainers have volunteered their time to come help them with their dogs. People have tried to volunteer there, but we've always told no, it's a liability. So there's no help for those dogs even when offered. If those are county policies, then I think we need to take a look at those policies, because it's not helping these dogs. It's not. And me and a lot of other people, we stayed quiet for a long time because I was always afraid if I said too much, I'm going to be cut off. They're not going to let me help. It was hard enough as it is. So if I open my mouth, then they're really going to cut me off, so I'm going to be quiet for the animals, but that's not helping. It's not helping. It's getting worse because nobody said anything. So I'm not asking anybody here to defend the shelter. Like, I don't want anybody to defend them or anything. That's not it. I just want you to make sure it doesn't keep happening. We don't need to close the shelter, but we need to fix it. And I think they're all here to help do that. That's all we want, is to help fix the shelter. That's it. That's it. I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Once again, I want to reiterate, the county commissioners, the county administrator are going to be heavily involved in the day-to-day operations, policies, and procedures moving forward for the dog shelter. And so conversations such as heartworm testing and spay and neuter, and these conversations, I think, are part of the policies and the procedures that need to be looked at. As I understand it, and you probably would know better, sorry, whether or not you spay or neuter a dog, sometimes when you adopt the animal, you may want that to have already happened, or you may not want that to have already happened. So everyone who adopts a dog doesn't want the dog to reproduce.
Correct. You don't.
Okay, all right, fair enough. As I understand it, we also have, maybe I'm misinformed, so this is why we have these workshop sessions. I was informed that when somebody adopts a dog, they're given a certificate that if they want the dog to be spayed or neutered.
It shouldn't be a choice. That's why there's not many dogs in the shelter.
Okay, fair enough. So,
They get a voucher for pet fix. So they get a voucher to go get their dog spayed or neutered and
Yeah.
pet fix from the shelter. But
they don't know if.
So they do get a voucher that.
If you get one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Greater
If you get one.
6-month wait.
Fair enough. So my point is this is a policy that needs to be addressed. I assured you, if you've seen anything about me as a commissioner, I understand numbers and budgets. And so we're going to have a conversation about numbers and budgets, about how the dog shelter is funded, about where the fees are going, how the money is being spent, and then we'll have a conversation, a round table, and discuss as we look forward to these policies and procedures moving forward as to what is it that the community wants us to be paying for and what is it the community doesn't want us to be paying for, right? So that the budget conversation about those things will also come up. Once again, I plan on in the old business section of our weekly meetings to address developments and new policies and procedures and operational issues moving forward. So I just wanted to, I appreciate your comments, and I just wanted to address some of those things before we move forward. So next up,
I'll speak next. I'm on there.
okay, I'm going to go down my list.
Okay.
Jenny
It's Pysick.
Pysick, there you go. Okay.
Can the mic be turned up?
It just has to go. Just-
Hi, my name's Jennifer Pysick. My family has run a paintball business in Chardon since 1984. I currently live at 1283 Gordon Road in Cleveland. I am moving my business to Madison because it's a better opportunity. I think it'll not only benefit me, but benefit the community. But I just have a little bit of an issue because I'm on 2 leases, and Wood Road, where I'm moving my business, the one side of the road is closed, but the other side is railroad tracks, and I have to do earth moving and stuff, and I can't get low boys over. So the last I was told it would take 30 days, but it's already been 3 weeks and 0 work has been done. So like, I'm losing a lot of money every day that I can't get machines in there to do work.
Okay.
So that's,
I apologize. I haven't had time to get to the county engineer this past week to discuss Wood Road as well as Madison Avenue.
Yes.
Is still shut down. I assure you that the conversations are going to be had as fast as I can.
okay.
Jason, if you could please follow up with the county engineer and request that we have a conversation as to what is going on with Wood Road as well as Madison Avenue.
Yeah, and I'd like to get your parcel number or wherever their address or what have you.
Can I email that to you? I didn't bring
Absolutely.
it because this is my first time doing this. So
Yeah.
I'm just a small business owner, so I'm learning as I
So
go.
it's a paintball business?
Yes, paintball. So I want to expand it into other things, not just paintball. I want to do paintball, airsoft, RC. My plan is to make it a community thing where everybody comes out and has a good time. My big thing is getting kids and young people off of this and outside,
Yep.
actually doing fun stuff.
Thank you for moving your business to Old Lake County.
You're welcome. I appreciate it. All
Yep.
right, thank you.
Next, Lisa Fisher. See, you were next.
Yes, I know. Hi, I'm Lisa Fisher. First off, thank you for giving us your time today. I'm glad I came to address the dog shelter. I worked there for almost 7 years. And I was at Fox 8 News, and I wanted to be with my son, so I went to the shelter part-time. Started out in the back. I didn't care if I cleaned, I just wanted to help the dogs. They're like, she's an office manager, she can manage office. When in there, COVID happened, we lost 2 deputies, I became a deputy. So I've been there a little bit. I only worked part-time, that's how I lasted there so long. And the AC unit, that's old news. That was like that the whole time I was there. Whole time, burning up. It's hot in here, it's hot in here. The dog warden, he was not there. Icebox. His office is an icebox, but nobody's there. Jason, we've talked. I've talked to Beveridge, Mr. Beveridge. I've talked to Mitchell Plechnik. Nobody listened to me. Talked to you a year and a half ago about the things that went on in that shelter. You said you'd address it. Nothing. Beveridge, I talked to you 6 months ago about the things that went on in that shelter. Nothing. You didn't reach out to one person I worked with. Nobody listened to me. Mr. McIntosh, I'm sorry I haven't had the opportunity to speak with you yet. Jason, I was really sick last summer on medical leave. I was in the hospital for 4 days when you asked me why I couldn't come to work. It's disgusting. Oh, you know what's ironic? Sheriff Bosco out there adopted a dog from us a few years ago, infested with worms. This is the truth. I have more. These dogs were sick. These dogs were ignored. Rodney did nothing about it, but he got his paycheck and he got his new car and his new boots. They pushed me out. Should I go on?
You have 43 seconds, and then I'll speak.
Well, you know what? I just want something done.
As do I.
And I'd sad it had to come to this because that is a beautiful facility. And there's so much that can be done there because I wanted to make a difference. I love those dogs. That's why I did it, not for the paycheck. I'm a school teacher. I'm at Lamouth. I have my own company. I hope you listen this time. That's it.
Thank you. When we spoke about 6 months ago, whenever that was, I asked folks to look into some issues over at the dog shelter. At the time, I was told,
You were great, but nothing was done.
I understand.
Because
And so, you know,
people cover for the dog.
let me just say two things real quick here. One,
I'll let you speak, I'm sorry.
thank you. One, this session, these meetings, and or our weekly commissioners meetings is not an opportunity for us to discuss personnel, staffing, hiring, firing, any of those issues. Please, just let me please.
Yeah.
If you look at the agenda from today, for example, we could go into executive session to have conversations about personnel and staffing. And so I just want to be cognizant of that fact. And I understand that any county employee, or government employee for that matter, is in the business of customer service. And they are a public facing, I don't care who you are. If you work for a government, whether it's the county, municipality, schools, or anything else, you are in the business of customer service because you are using taxpayer dollars for your salary. And I don't dispute that, I don't have a problem with that, right? We have to provide services in our society, and it's paid through by tax dollars. And so I understand the element of the scrutiny of the performance. I do. Just want to make sure that when it comes to that, mistakes can be made, but at the end of the day, these are also people, and the social media scrutiny sometimes that goes into the personal side of these things just needs to be recognized. I understand that this is a sensitive topic, and I appreciate the community's, the fact that you're all here, I appreciate the community's output and understanding that moving forward, as the first speaker said, this isn't about shutting down the shelter. There is a service that is to be provided by the shelter. And I promise you, the ugly truth of it is, I guarantee that some of the people in this room don't like that purpose and that service, right? That is the unfortunate side of the dog shelter. We are required by the Ohio Revised Code to have a dog warden and a dog shelter and provide some of these services, right? And it's hit me in the last couple of days as we've talked about this. The dog shelter is funded by the dog license fees that we collect, right? So basically, responsible dog owners in this community have to pay for the irresponsible dog owners in this community. And that is an unfortunate dynamic, and that is one of the things that we will be discussing. And so, once again, there is a process, and sometimes I am as frustrated as you. You will hear me speak in one tone here, and I promise you that staff will hear me speak in another tone, not on microphone. I understand the frustration, and I understand that there needs to be a change in the policies and the procedures and the operations of the dog shelter moving forward, and I promise that is going to start to happen effective last Friday at 3 o'clock when I found out about this specific problem. As we've talked about, the air conditioning, yes, is a, I'm not an HVAC guy. My geothermal works sometimes. I think geothermal is, whatever. The system probably stinks.
Accidents happen. I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. And so we have done our best to try and manage that system. Unfortunately, it has become evident that that system is no longer cost effective to continue to Band-Aid and Band-Aid and Band-Aid. And because of these outages, as well as if we have to get a part, as we're experiencing now. These parts were ordered within days of finding out that we have an issue, and we're still waiting on that part. We have now invested in a new system, as Commissioner Pleshnik was talking about. It is on a flatbed of a truck that has to be rolled in. That is not a permanent solution. While that is a solution that can help on that issue, that is not a permanent solution. So once again, there will be conversations about the overall systems because they have had a negative impact on the staff and the animals that are in that shelter. And so I am sympathetic and understanding the frustrations with the performance of the shelter, and we will deal with that. I apologize if 6 months ago when we spoke, but the answers I got back weren't to your satisfaction. They weren't to my satisfaction. But I am in a situation, and we here in government, and as we manage the county government and the services we provide, I simply can't act like I do in my personal business. I've been told that time and time again by the gentleman to my left here as my legal counsel and the prosecutor in the back. And so we are doing our best. On the air conditioning side, our best wasn't good enough as of Friday. And so therefore we have made changes, which is why we reached out to our partner agencies. We are going to continue to now redevelop and re-envision what that dog shelter should look like moving forward with our policies and procedures. Once again, with the idea that this is a customer service being provided to the community. Starting there and understanding that that customer service has to take care of animals at the same time. So, go ahead.
Mr. President, I'd just like to, I think along the lines of some of the things you're saying as we get into the comments and the public comment here, I'd like to start with a few things. Lake County government is a large enterprise, and as Mr. Beveridge mentioned and referred to our executive session to discuss employment matters. So employment law is something that's very tricky, and our county prosecutor and our legal department will speak to that. So I do want to reiterate that we're not at liberty necessarily to discuss certain things with aspects of employees and so forth. So please understand that as an expectation that's not in our best interest of how we operate the county, and this is the law, right? So this is something that we have to follow. So it's not going to be able to speak about certain people specifically and their actions while we're going through this. When it comes to some of the issues that we want to hear, I do want to say that starting when this all unfolded over the weekend, for me, day to day, this was like watching an ASPCA commercial. So I want everyone to understand that we all have tremendous compassion. To watch animals suffer, hear about these things is nothing that's easy. It's the same as our children. So please understand that we take all of this seriously. And to unravel these issues, it's a process. Running a large enterprise such as the county is going to take time to take a review of the processes, to see what's in place, to have a conversation, do some diligence to see what's working, what's not working, what needs to be improved. And obviously there's a lot of information that we need to sift through, but rest assured that this board and the administrative staff here is vested in that. And until we're comfortable that things are at a point, again, once we know factually which points are critical to address and what's working and what's not, and make the improvements. So we're interested in hearing what you have to say today, but understand that it isn't going to be necessary for us to just jump right out and say we're going to do this, we're going to do that, because there are so many things. So I would just ask that you share your concerns with us, continue to communicate with us, continue to follow updates, as Commissioner Beveridge said in our meetings, and that we are committed to righting the ship, as it were, and fixing these problems, but they don't necessarily happen overnight. I mean, it's going to take time to review the policies and design new ones and fix these problems.
Okay. Next up, John Mara.
I'm going to be changing subject, but so if you want to call on anyone else who wants to speak on this.
You're on my list, my friend. We've already had 2 topics. You can bring up a third. Assuming it's acceptable for public consumption.
Absolutely. Morning, Commissioners. John Marr, Timberlake, Ohio. I want to talk about the piggyback that was passed at the last Commissioners meeting. Again, there was some information that was given by our auditor about that the state is actually going to increase the owner occupancy, okay? Well, yeah, since that is true, it's going to go from 2.5% to 15.38%. It's amazing how they have a 0.38. It's not even, but anyway, but that's over 5 years. But what they didn't fail to tell you is that where's that money going to come from to increase that, and who's it going to affect? Okay, well, it's going to come from the rollback, which is 10%, which everyone has for non-commercial properties, which means now what's going to happen as a result, even though the owner occupancy, we're going to lose 10% over the next 4 years because it's going to be phased out over 4 years. So we're going to lose that 10%, which is 2.5% over the last 4 years, if you do a little back of the napkin math. And then you've got, it's going to increase to 15.5, but then again, we're going to lose the 10, so what's the net increase? 2.5% roughly, 2.53%. So again, we're not gaining anything. So what they said is that, and then what happens is the renters are going to end up paying more because now they're going to lose the rollback. Anyone who owns property, who rents it out, any landlord, or even these commercial apartment buildings, basically they're going to lose a 10% rollback. And they're going to basically pass that cost on. Unless it happens in New York, where then what they do is they pass legislation that says that the rent or the landlords cannot raise the rent, so which means then they're going to have the landlords eat that. So it's another cost that they'll incur somewhere else or increase their rent somewhere else. So all I'm saying is that, again, you guys weren't given all the information. I believe that, again, there's lies by omission and lies by omission and commission. So again, these are things that we're not told. I think that you had the information. And I believe that rollback should have been offered one more year until our legislators give basically some good tools. Because that brings us back to, again, why was it done mainly? Well, let's keep the funding for the schools, because they came here and said, we need all this money. I'm going to use Willoughby East Lake School District. They were given over $8 million without the vote of the people on that valuation increase. Well, they gave back with the rollback, they gave back, not the rollback, with that House bill that they assigned, they gave back the 2.5% or 1% on the piggyback. But again, they said that they need the money, or else they'd have to relocate or else put a earned income tax. Well, what happened there? They just voted last week to put an earned income tax on the ballot. So again, now what they're going to do is now, instead of it being distributed and collected on property taxes, which now everyone else's tax will go up, because again, it's going to exclude businesses from now paying those increase in tax, because they're using actually their earned income tax to replace a property tax revenue.
Thank you. A couple things I just want to go through.
Yes.
Before any of this legislation was passed, there was a 10% non-business credit. There was a 2.5% owner occupancy credit. The difference being is that property owners of 1, 2, or 3 family unit properties were also receiving the 10% credit. Okay? Now, it's called a non-business credit, but if you own a property, I'm no financial advisor or legal advisor as I sit here at this desk, but if you own a property and are collecting rents and running it as a business, which you should be, you are a business, and the profits that come through to your business, you get a small business tax credit in this state. It's one of the great things about this state for small business owners. And so you are already getting a tax deduction credit, however you want to put it, on the profits and the income from your small business. What the legislature did was they took that 10% that was going to properties that have 1, 2, or 3 families in it. And as you said, they are phasing it out and switching it all over to the owner occupied, which are homeowners, which are my residents, which are the people that have these homes that pay these taxes. And so that 12.5 is still going to be 12.5, but they're expanding it to be 15.38 which is an increase of 2.88, and it's going to go up every 4 years by about 0.7. So, for the owner occupancies, they're going to have the normal 10 plus the 2.5, but they're actually getting an extra 0.7 across the state. Starting this year, another 0.7, so 1.4 total next year, et cetera, et cetera. And the state is paying for that and backfilling the entities. Not only schools, small villages, townships, and other property tax collectors. And so the owner occupancy credit and what they've done is to give that relief to actual homeowners, to people who are living in the property that they're getting that tax credit on. And they have taken it away from the small business landlords. I understand if you're a small business landlord, this might be a problem, but they're taking that 10% credit away. But as I said, small business owners in this state already have an amazing state tax deduction built into their profits, as well as the salaries paid to them. I am a small business owner, so I understand the tax benefit I am getting as a small business owner. And so, just to make sure we're clear, I am very aware of exactly the numbers that went into the owner occupancy credit, as well as what changes were made last year in the State House. And as I said at that meeting, one of the things that mattered the most to me when it came to my decision was the inside millage conversation. The caps that have been put on the inside millage, which is what the state has reserved for schools, small villages, townships, and cities to be able to collect. That is now going to be muted by a CPI inflationary figure and is going to reduce the effective millage as it relates to property values. And it is going to cause townships, municipalities, cities, schools, everybody who collects property taxes, it's going to reduce their purchasing power because it's not going to keep up with real inflation or wage inflation, which is the vast majority of what government services are providing. And so maybe not today or down 5 years from now, but down the road 8 to 10 years, I hope, and we, as we've talked about at this desk many, many times, we continue to find efficiencies. We continue to deploy the services that we can and find efficiencies to save dollars so that as that effective millage on the inside gets eroded, we can keep up those services without having to ask the taxpayers for more. So just to be clear, those are the inner workings of that owner occupancy credit that for me personally went into my decision making on that record. Also, the New York situation, that might be doing in New York, but we're in Ohio, so I don't know of any issues with rent control and stuff like that going on in Ohio. But I appreciate the acknowledgement of, yes, there is a difference on what's going on. It is not going from 2.5% to 12.5%. Right now, owners are getting 12.5%, but it is going from 12.5% to 15.38, which is a 2.88% increase.
But we're not getting the additional 10%. We're losing that over the next 4 years. Everyone loses that rollback.
No.
Yes. That's
If
the
I
way
were a betting man, I'll put a $20 wager with you, sir.
Well, I guess-
that as that rolls back, it goes into the owner occupancy. There was a 10% non-business credit and a 2.5%
Right, it
owner
replaces,
occupancy.
which means you take from here and you bring it over here, and it's
Yeah,
the
we're not-
net increase, what I'm saying, the net increase is 2%, but you know what, let's agree to disagree on that, and I'm gonna see if I'm correct or if you're
Yeah,
correct.
the net increase over
Let's
the
have
next
a
4
gentleman's bet.
Yeah, $20.
Okay.
Yeah, the net increase over the next 4 years, regardless of what the commissioners do with piggybacks, is an increase of 2.88%. And specifically to the Willoughby Eastlake School District, they also passed rules, and I believe Timberlake is in the Willoughby Eastlake School District. You will see a reduction in your second half property taxes because of the types of levies Willoughby Eastlake was passing. The emergency, the fixed sum, those types of levies didn't count towards the 20 mil floor calculation, House Bill 920, they changed that. So effective tax year 25, collections 26, the bill that you either have recently received or you're going to be receiving here very shortly is going to reflect a significant reduction in the school levy calculation on your property taxes.
It's going to be a reduction in the massive increase I received because my property tax went from 6,000 to 10,000 overnight. So what I'm saying is, yeah, it'll be a reduction of the massive increase. But I understand that.
It'll just reflect the increase of inside millage.
But that increase should have never happened to begin with.
That is a whole other type of debate
Exactly.
that
Thank
we
you.
don't control here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Yep. All right. Next up, Jacqueline Khalil.
All right, I'm bringing it back to the Lake County Dog Shelter.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. My name is Jackie Khalil. I grew up in Mentor, graduated from there in 1999. Spent most of my life here. I am currently a resident of Cuyahoga County. I don't know if that makes any difference. But this is my home. So I think there are three things I really want to focus on. Accountability, transparency, and the volunteer issue. I'm a social media advocate. I share dogs all over the place. I have fostered over the years for probably 20 years in rescue when I can. I wish I could now and I cannot, but I try to affect change in a positive way, and I want to work with you guys, not against you guys. I think that volunteering and allowing volunteers is really huge. Having a good social media presence with transparency is really huge. And a lot of shelters all over the country, shelters, rescues, they do. If a dog is euthanized due to space, they'll tell you. Lake County doesn't do that, and it just seems not right. Where's it at? Also, a lot of volunteers do a lot of fundraising. We might not even always be begging for all the money. I mean, we rally for donations. We are a hard group for that. We go hard at that. So it's allowing us in and allowing us to help and to make a difference, because that hasn't been something that's happened so far. So I think that's the biggest thing. And just transparency. Dogs seem to disappear around there. And I'm just going from what I see online. I've never worked inside. I'm just an advocate animal person that shares from all over. And Lake County has had me for a while now, and I don't know what to do. And why can't I volunteer? That does not seem, it seems sketchy. I'll just say what it is.
The public doesn't want to know what you do.
She's speaking. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Well, but that's what. But if we can be there to volunteer, it's for the dogs. If all of us volunteers are there, we are the transparency. Let us help advocate. Let us help, and I think that's the biggest thing that would help make change.
I appreciate that. What are the things that... I appreciate that, and once again, there's going to be new policies and procedures moving forward, and there's going to be a conversation about that. As I said before, when it comes to the budgeting, there is a cost to what we're talking about.
I understand.
And to your point that if the community wants to support that, I have already researched. There's the opportunities of things such as the Friends of Lake County Dog Shelter.
Yes.
And to your point that, yes,
Yes.
if the community says, we'd rather fundraise than have responsible dog owners foot the
No,
bill.
we want both.
Well, you want
We fight for-
Time out. You want to increase the dog license fees?
No, but I want
That's what I'm
people to spay and neuter their pets so there are not more puppies in the shelters.
Yeah. My point is that right now the funding mechanism for the dog shelter is that responsible pet owners pay their fees for the irresponsible dog
I'm not
owners,
arguing that,
Right,
but-
and so that's what I'm trying to say is that we as a community, if we want to have fundraising outside of that, right, that can say,
Yes.
we'd like to see this or we'd like to see that, that will all be part of this conversation moving
Okay.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you, and circling back to my comments earlier, I think this is the sort of feedback that as this board, as the administration moves forward, this is the kind of stuff that we can now sit down and hash out, and hey, there's an option, there's an interest, and so forth, and that's how we can plot the path forward. That kind of change doesn't necessarily happen overnight.
I know
but we appreciate you coming forward with that.
Absolutely.
Very thoughtful. Definitely my notes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Kim Walker.
I think you've answered my question. I was just going to, we recently tried to rescue, and it was pretty difficult to try and rescue a dog from this dog shelter. And looking at the new policies and procedures, I trust you'll be.
Better customer service. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Stephanie Grants.
Sorry. I'm a folder, I'm a note taker. Hi, my name is Stephanie Grants, and I live at 7959 Oak Ridge Drive in Concord, 44060, where I have lived since 1998. I am obviously a concerned Lake County resident. I'm also a Corps volunteer at the Great Lakes Weimaraner Rescue. I've been a Corps volunteer since 2016, but the rescue itself has been in place since it was founded in Michigan in 2005. And there are very many breed-specific rescues that work with the understanding of special needs of certain breeds. I also adore the all-breed rescues because we work very closely with them also. Ours is volunteer run, it's nonprofit, it covers Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin, and part of Canada. So we are pretty widespread. To give you a little bit of a background, we are a foster-based rescue, so we try to house most of our dogs in foster, except sometimes they have to be up in main rescue. To give you a little bit of an idea of how our rescue works, back in 2020 in November in Hazlet, Michigan, we were definitely within the news because there was a hoarding situation of 2 homes with filthy conditions where they had 36 dogs, of which 4 had only been outside. The other 32 were always housed inside, and that is where they did their business. So there were very filthy conditions. Our rescue took in approximately 26 of those dogs with 5 Corps volunteers during COVID. As you can imagine, this was not an easy time. Our director had knee surgery coming up. 1 volunteer was in Canada and 1 was in New Amsterdam. As you know, there were nobody able to travel over the U.S. lines. And there was 1 in Wisconsin, and then myself, who was actively having COVID and could not lift my head. We managed to place 26 of these dogs. It was not easy. What I'm saying is that we have resources. Rescues can help. What we do for spay neuter is we have ours pay a deposit if they are too young to be spayed and neutered. All of our dogs are spayed and neutered before they're adopted out. That is non-negotiable, because what happens is if you do not, then you end up having backyard breeders that end up coming back with more dogs that end up in your shelters, which is the vicious cycle that we all end up with. People who breed who do not know what they're doing. So what we do is we have them pay a deposit, and that deposit is then refunded once they give proof of spay or neuter. I know that's not always possible, but that's just a suggestion. Right now I have 3 rescues of mine, and I currently have another foster. We've fostered about 25. Right now mine is a mix. I've worked with Stark County shelter a lot, so I can tell you they work very well with us, and I would love to see Lake County do some of the same. So I'm on my 2nd mix, so we don't always take in just Weims. Currently I have what I think is a Weim pit mix. He's been with me for 6 months. My other 3 old senior dogs have voted him off the island, so if anyone is looking for somebody, he is a real great dog, although he was not a big fan of our quincentennial celebration. He definitely busted out of a very strong crate.
Thank you,
Let me tell you. But what I'm saying is that we network with the best interest of dogs in mind. And we would love to work, or we work with a lot of shelters and all breed rescues to help, and a lot of breeds do. Oh, sorry, my time's up. Oh, gosh darn it. Oh, so sorry. I'm such a talker.
Goes fast, doesn't it?
It just does. I just recommend oversight, independent oversight, and waivers for volunteers. We'll sign them.
Yep.
Just let us know.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. So sorry. I'm a talker.
I have the same problem. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, if I could share, like so many good dogs, Weimaraners are sometimes on restricted breed lists, as you know, because of their high prey drive and their energy. And certainly any pit mix is put in that category. And it's sad because it makes it harder to adopt good dogs. Anybody who knows, Anybody who knows their dogs knows it's who raises them and how they're raised, not the breed. When I was a Willoughby Hills city councilman, unfortunately, my city was one of the few that still had breed-specific legislation, specifically for pit bulls and pit mixes. And I was told by my colleagues on city council, everyone knows you have a pit bull and they're going to block any attempt you make. They're going to try to go after your dog. But they're too scared to vote no if you can get it to the floor. So try to get it to repeal before they can come after your dog and all of our dogs. And I started having news media and documentarians reach out to me, and I knew this was going to blow up. But I also knew that if I could get this to the floor, there was a chance to protect everybody's dog. And there were 2 council people who spoke vociferously against it. They kept pushing, let's take more time, because they knew if they had more time, they could start sending citations to dog owners like me. But thankfully, we filibustered, we kept talking until finally we got the law repealed at that same meeting. We didn't leave until it was passed. And we ended breed-specific legislation in Willoughby Hills so that people who want to adopt a pit bull or a pit mix have the opportunity to do so. I know firsthand from adopting my dog Beamer, rest his soul, that there is not a mean bone in a pit bull's body. I don't believe there's a mean bone in any dog's body. The only reason you see a dog bite is because they've been hurt. And I can't imagine a harder job, to be quite honest with you, than being an assistant dog warden or a dog warden, because by definition, you're dealing with dogs who have not been taken care of. The fact that someone would abandon a dog, it's not something I can even wrap my mind around. A dog, I don't care what anyone says, dogs have souls. They absolutely do. They are people. They may not be quite as clever or mean as human beings can be, but they are real. They have feelings, they feel pain, they feel joy, and they're the best example of unconditional love that I've ever seen. So I'm not surprised that more people are coming out now to defend dogs than came to debate taxes a few weeks ago. And I'm a tax professor. You know I love to debate taxes. And they're too damn high. Let me say that for the record. But what I want to reassure everyone here is that the folks that you're talking to absolutely love and care about dogs and have spent many years of their life caring for them, fighting for them, advocating for them. These are not easy issues to deal with.
It would have been done already.
Let me just say, it seems like you can wave a magic wand and change things. I can assure you it is not that easy. As the senior member of the Board of Commissioners, I can say that every complaint that has ever been given to us about the dog warden has been directed to the county administration. They are aware of what those issues are, and they have continually done their best to respond to those complaints. The air conditioning system, in my mind, I frankly think that the whole geothermal green energy thing was crazy. It was a fantastical waste of money, and we should track down the commissioners who paid for it decades ago and ask for a refund. But I don't blame people for trying to make it work after all that money was spent. It was not broken for the entire period of years or months. It just wasn't working optimally because it wasn't a good idea to begin with. But and I gotta say this, when the system completely failed and the backups failed, I am proud to be part of an administration that wasn't so proud that they reached out to every community partner, knowing full well that that would advertise the fact that the HVAC had failed. If you were dealing with people who didn't care, I'll tell you what would have happened. They wouldn't have moved those dogs. They wouldn't have canceled their July 4th vacation. They wouldn't have reached out to everyone and their mother and said, can you take a dog now because the shelter's got to shut down? The reality is our county administrator, your county commissioners absolutely love dogs, cared about these dogs, and moved immediately to protect them. And we're not going to stop there. The air conditioner situation is resolved. We can move on from that. The reality is we've taken jurisdiction of that building from the dog warden's office and given it to Lake County Buildings and Grounds. So from now on, the commissioners will directly oversee the HVAC and the environmental controls. And while we can't promise nothing will ever break, it will be fixed as quickly as possible. And you know what? It'll be fixed before ours is. I'm glad this isn't a super hot day because once again, one of the 2 chillers on the roof is busted. You'd all be sweating right now if this was as hot a day as Friday because we care more about the dogs than we care about this floor. And don't get me wrong, I care about all the employees who work here, but I'd rather they sweat at a 90-degree temperature than the dogs because if worse comes to worse, they can go home. The dogs can't. Not until we find someone to adopt them. But I will tell you right now, what I don't want people to walk away from this meeting thinking is that nothing is going to change or that nobody cares. That is not true. That is absolutely not true. This situation will be dealt with. But it will not be dealt with as quick to my liking or yours because we are dealing with complex personnel relations, policies, and procedures that cannot be changed with the wave of a magic wand. And they frankly shouldn't either. Because meetings like this should take place. We should hear from the public. We should see how people want their dog warden's office to look. And it can't end with just one meeting. We need to talk to a lot of people, a lot of community partners. Now, the emergency is resolved, and that should be resolved immediately. The air conditioner works as of tomorrow morning when we'll start to take dogs back in, and we're going to make sure that we're never in a position where there isn't redundancy again. But to make long-term changes, we need to make sure those changes are right. We need to make sure that the dogs are taken care of, not just in response to the concerns of today, but period, completely. And I agree, we should look at Friends of the Dog Shelter. We should look at ways that people can donate their time, their talent, and their treasure and be more involved so that folks can have greater confidence that our dogs are being taken care of. But I guarantee you, this will never be an easy job. I can't even imagine the pain of putting a dog down. I couldn't do it.
It's horrible.
I couldn't do it.
I had to.
And my hat's off to someone who has the strength of will. As hard as it was when my dog died, I'm grateful he passed away on the couch because I couldn't do that. So I understand, but
what they do with them afterwards.
It's one thing if they're sick or hurting,
but the message that has to go out, because it's not fair to anyone, the people who work, the people who will be hired to work, future members of the dog warden, it's not fair to anybody for the public to not know what is going on, and we all need to do a better job of sharing that. But there were some who were concerned that the dogs were just sitting in that shelter sweating and sweating. That's not true. The moment that the county office heard there was a serious problem, that the portable air could not keep up with the temperature, nobody was prideful. Everyone immediately said, we need help, we need to get the dogs out, other than a few that we can keep in back with the portable air, all focused on that limited area. That was done immediately. It didn't matter it was a holiday weekend, and I don't care if it happened on Christmas Day. We'd do the same thing. But hopefully, with the changes that we're making to the building, the air conditioner will never be a problem again, and we can focus on other things. And I welcome all of you to be involved in that process going forward because we want to make sure that it's done right. And done right doesn't mean it just stops with one change. We want you involved going forward. So I'm grateful to see you all here. I'm grateful to hear your sincerity and your care. You're right, we couldn't shut down the dog shelter if we wanted to. Ohio law requires one. But we've come a long way, and I'm grateful that we have. We mentioned the Lake County Fair earlier. There's a script that you read through of fun facts about Lake County, and some of them are really old. And one of the fun facts is that they literally used to offer money for scalps of wild dogs. Instead of a dog warden, they'd pay a bounty if you would catch a dog and prove that you killed it. And I won't read that. It's still on the list. You can go find the Voice of the Fair manual, and that's one of the quote-unquote fun facts. Well, thank God we don't do that anymore. But I don't think it'll ever be an easy job. And the folks who give their time, whether it be as a volunteer or as an employee of the dog shelter, have a massive and difficult responsibility of dealing with these pups at the lowest moment in their lives. I've seen dogs that have been hit in the head by hammers. I've seen dogs that have been beaten since they were a puppy. And and we have to take care of them. And the fact that you're here shows that you agree. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next on my list, Catherine Kalo.
Thank you for your time. Catherine Kalo, 202 Nautical Way. I just want to address so many things. Thank you to the rescue and for the other agencies involved that helped remove the dogs when it was hot. Like you said earlier, you sent your employees home. Unfortunately, these dogs were home, and that's their safe place, and they couldn't go anywhere. We need to be their voice. We have to be their voice. They cannot speak when they're hot. They cannot speak when they don't feel well. So aside from the air conditioning and all that, we have to be their voice. When they are not feeling well, when they're not treated properly in this facility, it's concerning. I mean, it's abuse, it's neglect, it's on the verge of torture. They're living beings, like you said. They're living beings with a heartbeat. They feel things, they hurt, but they can't say anything. We need to say something. We need to be their voice, and we need to be loud about it. This is completely unacceptable. The AC aside, it's everything else that we're finding out. I drive past that building and I think, wow, what a beautiful building. What a safe place for these animals, that they're going to find their forever home, that they're being taken care of, to put in their forever home and live out their life happily. And now it's like a building of horrors I'm finding out. I've tried to volunteer. I'm such an advocate for animals, obviously. I've tried to volunteer, no phone call back. I don't even want money for it. I just want to go in and care for the animals and love on them and give them what they deserve while they're waiting for their forever home. That's what they need. The fact that an animal could not urinate for 7+ days, no one there knew that that dog was not urinating, that it had to actually manually have its bladder expressed. Nobody knew that it wasn't urinating. That's appalling and horrifying on so many levels. Like, they need medical treatment as soon as they get there, whatever the allotted amount of time is. I mean, I don't think it should be less, but the allotted amount of time, they need medical care, they need testing, they need to find out what's wrong, they need to be treated, to be tested positive for heartworm. I am told that it's a horrible process to be treated for heartworm. It's a rough time. And for that dog, Clyde, to have heartworm positive since December and nothing was done, and then you're infecting all these other animals, like, I can't, like, my heart breaks for these animals, and we have to be their voice. Things have got to change. And I understand you guys are probably finding out about a lot of this as we are. And I'm sure you're just as appalled. If you have a heartbeat, you are appalled. You should be. But we've got to make the change. We have to. We've got to be their voice. They don't have a voice, and we will continue to fight for them and be their voice. Please do the testing. Please let the people volunteer that want to help free of charge. Please. Yeah. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Can I say something really quick?
I still got my list.
I know, but the dog that she's talking about not being able to urinate, he's in our rescue. He's the other dog that we had to fight to pull
Thank you.
out.
Thank you.
Fight, it was a fight.
Pat Donaldson.
14 days.
Morning.
Morning.
Little upset here. Pat Donaldson, 2583 Larchview Drive, Perry Township. 60 years old, except for a couple years in my 20s. I've lived in Lake County my entire life. Previously was a police officer for a couple agencies in Lake County. Took several dogs that I found during the course of my duties to the pound. Knowing what I know now, I wish I'd found something else to do with them. I volunteer with Jen Manson's Rescue. I currently have a dog that we pulled from the pound about 3 weeks ago before the air conditioning incident. She's a 15-year-old beagle. When we got her, she had a bunch of rotten teeth. She was incontinent. She smelled like urine. She'd been there for a while. No medical attention whatsoever. Clyde is not the only dog that I'm aware of that has had an issue with another dog because their runs weren't properly secured. This prior incident in 2022, one of the dogs had to be euthanized. The other one required extensive medical care. Both Clyde and this previous incident, when the injuries were discovered, nothing was done for at least 24 hours. No medical care was provided. If something like that happened to one of our parents, for instance, that was in a care facility, there would be lawsuits and possible criminal charges. This is not acceptable for the animals in Lake County. It's my understanding that when dogs are euthanized at the dog warden's office, they are put in a plastic bag and taken to the dump. A former employee at the dog warden's office found not a funeral home, but a cremation center that would be willing to cremate the dogs for $35, which is incredibly cheap. My last dog I had to have put down was $400. We should not be treating the animals in our care this way. Mr. Boyd, I appreciate the fact that you canceled your vacation. God bless you for doing so. I do find it very interesting that the person that allegedly runs the dog warden's office has yet to be seen, didn't show up today. According to former and current employees, he's hardly ever there. I certainly hope, Mr. McIntosh, that his name comes up, as you mentioned, during your executive sessions. Other than that, if we could live up to the phrase we have up there and make some changes, that would be wonderful. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Let's see how I do. Uni Heineking.
Yeah, you did good.
Commissioners, President, thank you for having a work session like this. This is the first time I'm here. I'm here to talk about the dogs and the shelter. And I became aware of the issue through one of a kind, or one at the time, K9 rescue. And I know this is an extremely emotional topic, obviously for you and for us as community members. And I live at 8553 Rosewood Lane in Mentor. So I'm here as a very concerned Lake County resident. I want to be proud of my community, and hearing what I have heard through Facebook, which I understand is not official facts, but something is brewing, and I think that you have a community outrage starting to brew. And I would hope that you are going in some way to address the community at large, because people are seeing these Facebook posts and they need to hear from you as officials. It's not about the AC issue. We keep talking about that, and it's not about that. It's about the treatment of animals. And I think it's unacceptable to hear from you that it's going to take time. You're talking about living, feeling beings. No, you need to go in now to review what's going on. Don't take the time to sit and review procedures and ask for the procedures. You need to ask for a humane agent, maybe from Lake Humane Society, to go in. You need an expert. None of you are experts, and we need someone that has an understanding of animal welfare. I recommend that you ask the humane, and actually I'm personally going to ask the humane agent at Lake Humane Society to go in and do a review. It must be done now. We've talked about full transparency. Absolutely, you're completely lacking on that part. The website has hardly any information about the dog shelter. By law, you are required to receive a weekly report from the shelter. Are you receiving that report? Yes or no?
I get a report.
You are getting a report. What is happening with that report?
I get the report each week of the inventory of the dogs in the kennel, address.
What is being done with that information?
If I have to act on that information, I would act on that information.
And what is it that, and I know I'm over my time, what is it that determines whether you're going to act on it or not?
Well, if I see inconsistencies or if I see a trend of something that I have not seen to date, I've not called and said, hey, I see dog X on this.
Yeah.
It's not my position professionally or ethically.
I understand. So we need someone that is a professional, that understands animal welfare, that reviews these reports, and it needs to be made transparent. Us as a community have a right to this information so that we can ask questions.
Yeah, I think Mr. Boyd would like to speak to that point specifically.
I know, but can I just finish real quick because my time is over and I have some important points. I know, again, I think this is real. The community outrage is real. And as politicians, you're going to want to nip that in the bud. I recommend that you schedule a town hall meeting in the evening so that people who work have an opportunity to come. I think I can't emphasize the urgency, anymore. I mean, it's unacceptable that you say that you're going to do this and it's going to take time. No, you have to do it.
Okay, I want to respond to that.
Yeah.
If you have a couple of seconds, are you okay?
Yeah, I think the most important things, the weekly report is hugely important.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, thank you.
But with regards to saying it's going to take time, there are some things that don't take time. Certain ways that the dogs are being treated. If kennel latches aren't being properly latched, well, guess what? Nobody goes home until we double check stuff like that. Things that go to the benefit of the animals. To the extent
I'm talking about their welfare, their pain, veterinary care.
The benefit of the animals. Those type of things that those policies and procedures that can be implemented as soon as possible will be. There are other things such as funding mechanisms, employment, and staffing, and stuff like that. So training, right? So as I understand it, to be a deputy dog warden, to be able to provide some of those services, there's certain trainings. That's what we're talking about. That those type of things may require some more timing with that.
Yeah, I get that.
So I wholeheartedly agree. This isn't, as Commissioner Plaschek said, this isn't, we're going to look into it. This is, I assure you, we're looking into it and we're making changes. And when those changes are made, to your point, I think that you will start to see, when you want to know from us what's going on, we're going to be putting out those, not necessarily the reports from the dog warden to the county administrator, but the county is going to start to put out reports through our Facebook page.
Okay.
I will look into I think there's a dog warden for, you're going to figure out real quick, I don't do the Facebook thing real well, but as I understand it, there's a dog warden or dog shelter Facebook page.
Yes, there's hardly any information on there.
That will start to also be used to disseminate information as policies and procedures are being changed so that folks know this is what's going on, here's what we've done.
I also,
sounds good.
Just to fill in too, I want to be clear, again, I think Commissioner Beveridge hit the timeliness issue with respect to employee and some of the some of the things people have raised, some of that will take time, but I know, rest assured, this has been an ongoing conversation for, I don't know, daily since whenever, right? We've been talking about it, and since business resumed Monday, it's been a steady cadence of conversation, and I know Administrator Boyd would like to answer something that you said with respect to experts.
First off, I want to thank everyone for their comments, and things could be done better. And that starts with me. I take responsibility for some of the things, some of the policies. I've been here for 26 years, 12 in this role, and I understand what I can do better, and I can do better.
Thank you.
To that point, we do have a meeting tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
I hear you
And-
loud and clear.
Yeah.
I apologize. Yeah.
See, this is the kind of acknowledgement I think we need. We hear a lot of defense, you know, like this is why things are the way they are.
deputies who work there who want to come back,
Yeah.
who want to do this job the right way. And we love the facility. We
Yeah.
love the community. And you just need the right people to help make it happen.
I am doing my best
I know, I'm so
to
happy.
walk the fine line and make the
So
statement
happy.
once again that you will hear time and time again, and then you're going to hear in the reports. The commissioners and the county administrator are going to take a much more involved role on the day-to-day operations, policies, procedures, and effectiveness of the late. I don't think that isn't going to start to happen. I'll tell you what, it's a lot. That office is a lot closer to my house than this office.
Can you imagine how many people
Yeah.
will be here
To make that happen, it'd be awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I understand that, and I given an interview and I said, I get it. Our meetings are during the day, and if folks want to send emails, I apologize. This is our meetings. I understand. And yes, at some point we will have. At some point, I wrote down town hall. You can't read my writing; it's chicken scratch, but I know that says town hall. And so I do think, once again, I will continue personally as part of the old business section every week. I will continue to give an update until the dog shelter is at a place that I'm comfortable with. That is it for folks who have signed up and checked a box. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak before the commissioners? Yes. You can please come to the podium. Let us know your name and address.
Good afternoon. My name's Donna David. Address is 27 Paradise Court, Fairport Harbor. I just want to say in 2005 to 2007, I volunteered at the old dog shelter on Fairgrounds Road. I know it's in the past. I love what I heard today about resolution, transparency, and hopefully change. I did go to the warden when I volunteered there that year with no resolution. Then I did go to the commissioners and the former commissioners. And right after I went there, a week later, the dog program was suspended. So it's been 20 years. And I'm just disturbed because I'm hearing this after 20 years. So I'm hopeful today, just hearing everybody and from you, excuse me, from all of you that there's going to be change.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. Diane Cope, 28 Paradise Court, Fairport Harbor, Ohio. I am, of course, like everybody else here, an avid pet lover. I also am a pet sitter. I have a pet business where I watch people's animals, and they're my highest priority. I just have a suggestion as far as like with the volunteer program, or maybe doing like surprise inspections at the shelter, or you could have like somebody come in, like a secret shopper, that kind of could observe what's going on in the shelter. If they're looking to adopt an animal, they can see the way the animals are being treated, because I know when my sister and I volunteered, we saw some pretty disturbing things. And as she said, when they were brought forward and mentioned, it was dismissed, and then the program was canceled. Also, with the volunteer thing, have them sign a waiver and with a release so that the city and county is not liable, you know, and then also run background checks maybe on the volunteers too, you know, and personally interview them. But to not have the volunteer program, like we did a lot. That's where our hearts and souls are with animals. My sister and I, we love animals. We're with strays all the time, you know, we're feeding the stray cats and skunks and chipmunks, whatever. You know, their life. God put them on the earth for a reason. And, you know, if we can help, we're going to help. And we would love to go back and start helping again. And, you know, not to have them suffer because of other people's mistakes, and just be treated humanely in every way. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Mr. President, I just have to say you win the prize for best T-shirt as a law professor. I love that.
Oh, thank you. Catherine Kalo, again, 202 Nautical Way. I just have one quick question. I appreciate your accountability. I did not realize that you get a report weekly. That was something new that I was hearing. So when you get the report, did you know that animals got into a fight and were left untreated for days with scratches and infections? Clyde and some other ones, or about Jace with the not urinating, was that in the report? So the employees are not telling you, they're not reporting it.
The report is a spreadsheet.
We need accountable people.
So, folks, please.
Right.
I think I hope you understand the dialogue and the conversation we're going to have here. And I gotta be honest, I love your suggestions. But a secret shopper? Right?
Yeah.
No, hold on. And once again, this is part of the conversation we're going to be having about the ideas. But to be clear, a secret shopper means that we haven't done our job. If I can't trust the person doing the job, then I need to find a person I trust to do the job. Right? So I just, once again, we are not going to discuss personnel. We are not going to discuss that type of stuff.
Yeah.
To the extent that there's a report out there, yes, because I read that too. Because I read ORC, Section 955, Duties and Responsibilities of the Dog Warden. Section 955.12, the appointment of said dog warden. Who qualifies? I don't know if you know this, but the county commissioners cannot be interim dog wardens, because I looked that up too. And so that report is a ORC mandated report. My guess is, and if you want to take the time to explain it, it's a spreadsheet that talks about dogs in, dogs out.
Yeah, and one of the notes I had is adding a medical condition status in this
Okay.
particular report. So my takeaways, some of my takeaways that I've heard is the volunteer component, transparency, which is pounded in my head all the day, forward-facing in customer service, the folks who work the front desk and are greeting the public, our collaboration with our partner agencies. As I noted, I have a 10 a.m. tomorrow with the executive director and staff at the Lake Humane Society, which were fantastic on Friday. And then just the overall look at policies, procedures.
Yeah. So I guess my point was then, if you're not even aware of it, then it's the shelter, the employees at the shelter aren't making you aware of those issues. So that's where the conflict,
Where the policy needs to be revisited.
Right.
And I want to.
Yeah.
I think again, I want to reiterate. We hear what you're saying, everyone loud and clear, and I think to put some things together. We've all taken notes. If I've had my eyes in my laptop, it's because I'm typing versus amounts of notes here. So I think we'll all sit down and take a look at this. But my opinion, we need to sort of look front to back, top to bottom, and look at this. Yes, we will address or have addressed things immediate, right? If the house is on fire, you put the fire out and so forth. But a fire investigation to determine why the house caught fire takes time and things to put together. We've talked several times, personnel is a bit of an, there's a lot of things to talk about. We cannot talk about that here in form. There's a whole myriad of reasons that we can't be candid and transparent about those facts at this time. And,
and it's like
as
I said,
this plays out, we will. And I think
it's hard for him to act on it if he's not aware.
Right. And I think
part of the problem.
Just want to say, yes, we hear that. It's something that even walking into the room today was already chalked.
I'm sure it's been enlightening.
So, there's a lot of things that we've been
Say
talking about organizational accountability and stuff. It's something that I spent an entire career investing a lot of time in. So please understand that I'm very committed, very enthusiastic about the opportunity to bring my skills and background to that conversation, if not, leading some of that effort to take a look at that. So I really, really want everyone to understand that we hear it loud and clear. I don't think anybody here wishes to defend what happened. We all have a sense of duty and commitment to this job, to the county, to the residents, and of course to the dogs. So we're going to look into this. It's just right now, this is very early.
I'm sure it's all very
And we're
overwhelming.
prioritizing,
Yeah.
and as we work through this, I believe a lot of the concerns that have been raised will be addressed. I believe a lot of the suggestions will be considered, and I'm sure some of them will be adopted.
Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Is there any, yes, ma'am?
Hi. My name's, I'm getting emotional already. My name is Maura Schnoffer, and I actually live in Geauga County, 2 miles from the Lake County line. I own a boarding kennel, and I'm very proud of it. And it's hard to take care of dogs. A lot of dogs, I don't know what the capacity of the shelter is, but it's hard, but you can learn how to do it. Observation is the most important thing. To be able to identify a dog is suffering. It's not, it's laying there and it's not tired. Something's wrong. So observation is a very important part. I appreciate you, Jason, for your apologies, and I am confident that you promised, and we will make you accountable. We will follow you, and we will let you know when we're satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Dave Kalina, 11121 Caddy Lane, Concord. I understand, obviously, that personnel issues are the responsibility of the board. The other big issue that's been bandied about is policies and procedures. The Lake County Dog Shelter does have a .gov website. There is no link to their policies and procedures. It would be good to put them out there so that everyone knows how the operation is supposed to be governed by those policies and procedures. And as you consider making changes, that would be a good place to put out draft changes to policies and procedures so that the people here who are very concerned about what's going on have an opportunity to make comment on those before they're adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Going once? Going twice?
Everybody
Wait,
go
wait,
adopt
wait.
a dog.
Wait, which of you individuals wants to go again?
Everybody should just go adopt a dog on the way home.
Absolutely. Go to your local shelter, go adopt some dogs, and then we'll have more capacity, right? So, go. What's that?
I don't even have to come up there, my voice is loud enough.
No, unfortunately, the microphones can't pick up the recordings. Once again, there's a process. We have to have this documented. I can't have a conversation into a microphone by myself that people are going to think weird things.
Sorry. It's Stephanie Grants again, 7959 Oak Ridge Drive, Concord 44060.
Yes.
Specifically, I just wanted to state the accountability factor, and I really appreciate everyone taking this time. I'm encouraged, to say the least. But in schools, in medical care facilities, one of the things with accountability that, especially in schools, since I'm there now as a speech pathologist, there are people that are following and keeping us accountable who are not skilled in the areas that we work in. So my question with accountability would be, could we be sure there is someone who is understanding and experienced in dog care and dog needs, or cats or whatever, in this area of accountability? Because if it's not, like, we need someone independent, someone who knows what's going on, as someone had mentioned. You can't be accountable to someone who's not independent.
And that's my concern. So, someone who's not in-house, even if it's a person, a vet or whatever, someone who doesn't have skin in the game, so to say, is just my suggestion. Thank you.
Once again, the oversight comes from the county commissioners. I have made a promise, and the young lady up here who wants to speak again promises to hold me accountable. So those policies and procedures, thank you for pointing out that our website goes to blank space. That's great to hear. Those policies and procedures will be updated with involvement from the community. And if the oversight isn't getting done properly, then we will revisit that. So, did you need to speak again, or?
Yes.
Please.
My last word is dog, spelled backwards, is God.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? I was about to say, I don't see anybody else speaking after that, but go ahead. Is there anybody else that would wish to speak?
I have parcel numbers for him. I didn't want to interrupt.
You can do that afterwards. Yeah, we can shut down the meeting and then you can give him all the information you need. So, going once, going twice. I appreciate everyone's participation. I appreciate your civility. There are a lot of sensitive, difficult topics that come before this desk. This is one of them. And I appreciate the cooperation, not only with our partners who helped us in our time of need on Friday, but with the folks in the room and the other folks, hopefully, outside of this room that understand this is a process that will be addressed as fast as possible. So that'll bring us to a conclusion of our workshop session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.